We begin with a fascinating development in the realm of science and technology. Researchers at Imperial College London have spent a decade trying to understand how superbugs develop antibiotic resistance. In a significant breakthrough, an AI designed to collaborate with these scientists correctly hypothesized the mechanism of horizontal gene transfer in certain chromosomal islands. This AI's findings mirrored those of the scientists in published research. The researchers believe that AI has the potential to synthesize evidence, identify crucial questions, and significantly accelerate scientific progress, particularly in the fight against antimicrobial resistance. However, the article also notes important concerns about the reproducibility and ethical use of AI in scientific research, emphasizing the need for tools to detect misconduct and ethical guidelines. Shifting to crime and justice, a grim case has unfolded in South Dakota. Airman Quinteria Chappelle has been charged with the murder of 21-year-old Sahala Sangra, who had been missing since August. Her remains were discovered near Ellsworth Air Force Base, following a hiker's discovery. And Chappelle, who was stationed at the base, is accused of killing her there. The investigation involved multiple law enforcement agencies demonstrating a coordinated effort. The relationship between Chappelle and Sangra remains unclear. This case also underscores the ongoing efforts to address cases involving missing and murdered Indigenous people. In another significant legal matter, Robert Preston Morris, the former pastor of Texas megachurch Gateway Church, is expected to surrender to Oklahoma authorities on child sexual abuse charges. These charges stem from allegations dating back to the 1980s, when Morris was a traveling evangelist, with the victim Cindy Clemshire coming forward after 43 years. Morris, who resigned from Gateway Church following the initial accusations last year, faces 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child. His attorney anticipates a not guilty plea. Notably, Morris was known for his political activity, including hosting President Donald Trump at Gateway Church in 2020. If convicted, he potentially faces significant prison time. Turning our attention to immigration and deportation, we see 2 concerning cases highlighted. Firstly, Dr. Rashad A. Loy, a Brown University medicine assistant professor with a valid H-1B visa, was deported to Lebanon after returning from a trip home. A court petition alleges that she was detained at Boston Logan International Airport for 36 hours before being deported, allegedly violating a federal judge's order to halt her removal. Customs and Border Protection stated that arriving aliens bear the burden of establishing admissibility. A notice of court order violation has been filed requesting Aloy's immediate return and an emergency hearing. Brown University is seeking more information and a hearing is scheduled. This case raises serious questions about due process and the enforcement of court orders. Secondly, the Trump administration is facing controversy regarding the deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members. While a judge reportedly halted some deportations, the administration claims it did not violate the order. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt asserted President Trump's constitutional authority to remove foreign alien terrorists through an agreement with El Salvador. It is reported that 23 alleged gang members were transferred to a terrorism confinement center. However, the exact timing and criteria used to identify these individuals remain unclear. The Trump administration reportedly accelerated deportations using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a controversial statute previously used during World War II. The White House denies violating the judge's order, raising questions about potential constitutional overreach and the timing of the order in relation to the deportations. Concerns about human rights abuses in El Salvador also add to the controversy. These cases, including the deportation of the Brown professor, are likely to end up in the Supreme Court, potentially defining the limits of presidential power. Moving to international relations and politics, newly appointed Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is actively seeking solidarity with key allies, like France and the UK, amid rising tensions with the U.S. under President Trump. During his first overseas trip, he met with President Macron in Paris and plans to meet with PM Starmer and King Charles III in London. Carney is emphasizing Canada's historical ties and asserting its distinct identity, particularly in response to Trump's trade actions, underscoring Canada's sovereignty. With an upcoming election at home, his diplomatic outreach signals a pivotal moment for Canada on the global stage, including potential shifts in defense strategies and collaboration on international peace efforts, such as Ukraine. These political tensions seem to be impacting travel, as a growing number of Canadians are reducing their travel to the U.S. due to political tensions and trade disputes. Surveys indicate a significant percentage of Canadians are less likely to visit the U.S. this year, with many already canceling plans. This boycott is potentially costing the U.S. tourism industry billions of dollars and thousands of jobs. Canadians are exploring alternative destinations like Mexico, Costa Rica, and Bermuda, or opting to stay within Canada. Even cross-border communities reliant on tourism are feeling the impact and adjusting their marketing strategies. Further highlighting international political uncertainty. Defense Secretary Hegseth postponed his visit to Seoul amid South Korea's political turmoil following President Yoon's martial law declaration. This delay fuels speculation about the Trump administration's reluctance to engage with South Korea during its leadership transition as the nation awaits a decision on Yoon's impeachment trial. The postponement raises questions about international relations between the two countries, and the rescheduling of the visit remains uncertain depending on the outcome of the impeachment process. In another significant international development, U.S. President Donald Trump announced he will speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss ending the Russia-Ukraine war. Trump stated that negotiators have already discussed dividing up certain assets, including land and power plants. This comes after Trump claimed Ukraine accepted a U.S. proposed ceasefire. Although Putin's support is ambiguous with tough conditions and demands for concessions, Trump's willingness to discuss land concessions and his relationship with Putin have concerned NATO allies. Meetings between negotiators from the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia are reportedly ongoing. This also connects with the oil market, as oil prices have slightly increased after the U.S. vowed continued strikes against Houthi, disrupting Red Sea shipping. This, coupled with positive Chinese retail sales data suggesting increased demand, has pushed prices up. However, concerns about a slowing global economy and escalated trade tensions are keeping overall gains in check. President Trump's planned discussion with Putin regarding Ukraine, including potential territorial compromises, adds further uncertainty to the market. The escalating trade war between the U.S. and Europe is also causing significant concern. With a $9.5 trillion economic relationship at stake, U.S. businesses operating in Europe are raising alarms, emphasizing that tariffs threaten not only direct goods trade, but also substantial transatlantic investments. While President Trump is focused on the goods trade deficit, the impact could extend to services where the U.S. has a surplus and significantly disrupt foreign direct investment. The tit-for-tat tariff threats, including potential levies on European cars, pharmaceuticals, and alcoholic beverages, could create uncertainty and discourage future investments, ultimately harming businesses on both sides. Domestically, the U.S. is facing potential federal job cuts that are already impacting American services. Staff reductions across federal sites are leading to unintended consequences, such as canceled programs for homeless veterans in Detroit and Denver, and slowed progress for disabled children in accessing classrooms in Alabama. In California, Yosemite National Park paused campsite reservations due to staffing uncertainty driven by the Trump administration's efforts to reduce the federal workforce. These cuts aim to reduce federal employee numbers by 200,000 by the end of 2025, saving $1 trillion. However, a potential wave of federal layoffs looms, exacerbating anxieties for workers already navigating a challenging economic landscape. These job cuts could ripple through communities, impacting household finances and overall economic stability, especially with ongoing inflation concerns. The mood around layoffs in general is reportedly souring, with widespread anger among workers replacing what was once seen as a necessary evil. This shift in attitude could negatively impact employer branding, employee morale, and future hiring prospects. As companies may be underestimating the long-term consequences of workforce reductions, in the political sphere, Senator Chuck Schumer's book tour for his book on anti-Semitism in America has been abruptly halted. This postponement follows controversy over his vote on a recent government funding bill, which drew criticism, especially from within his own party. As a concession to Trump's agenda, protests were reportedly brewing at each tour stop, citing security concerns. The tour is now on hold, leaving the future of his book promotion uncertain. The business world is also seeing significant shifts. Forever 21, once a prominent fast fashion retailer, has filed for bankruptcy for the second time in 6 years. The company cites fierce competition from foreign giants, rising costs, and shifting consumer trends. They are initiating an orderly wind-down of their U.S. business. Despite a previous bankruptcy in 2019 and subsequent acquisition, Forever 21 struggled to regain its footing, with analysts pointing to lackluster merchandising and a lack of a clear brand identity as contributing factors. This adds Forever 21 to the growing list of retailers closing stores in the U.S., highlighting the challenges facing traditional brick-and-mortar businesses. Finally, Tesla is facing a potential backlash from Democrats and liberals due to Elon Musk's political stances. While figures like Trump and Hannity are rallying conservative support, analysts question if it will be enough to offset the decline in Democratic consumer interest. Surveys show a shift, with fewer Democrats considering Teslas after Musk's actions. And Tesla's market dominance is slipping despite overall EV market growth. The article explores whether political associations are now significantly influencing car buying decisions and whether Tesla's innovations and charging network will be enough to retain customers. These are some of the key developments and issues highlighted in the provided news excerpts, painting a picture of a complex and rapidly evolving landscape across science, politics, economics, and international relations.